Hey, my reactors. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit. I know there's a Zodiac and a reaction channel. So I'm going to react to some of them books. So today we'll be reading Redbone by T.Style. It's a really good book. I want y'all to enjoy it while I read it again. So I'm just going to read it out loud. So I'm going to read 2 chapters of the book and we'll do it every so often. So I'm gonna do my zodiacs, still do my zodiacs, and I'm gonna switch it up with different content like reading books. So that's what we're gonna be doing on this channel from now on, with a little shorts in between when I don't want to make content. So let's get started. Present day. Mooney sat in front of her open window, trying to wash the shitty taste of cigarettes and black coffee from her mouth with a glass of cheap bourbon. From sunup until sundown, being a spectator was her daily ritual. Although it was only the beginning of October, the weather outside resembled a cold winter's day. She pulled the belt on her blue robe as her brown eyes peered outside at the situation brewing with a group of rowdy children from her building. In her opinion, the things she witnessed outside her small apartment in Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, were better than anything available on television, so she didn't own one. Wow. Eyes locked on the group of screaming girls. She zeroed in on the leader of the pack, 13-year-old Cutie Tootie. Wow. Mooney could hear Cutie's screeching voice loud and clear as she screamed at the top of her lungs. The tight-waisted left pink coat she wore was open low enough for the boys hanging on the sidelines to see the top of her bubbling breasts. You ain't nothing but a ugly black bitch, Siona. You and your twin, Cutie Tootie said, screaming at her foster sister's face. Her light-skinned cheeks were flush red from all of the excitement. I saw you in my fucking room last night, and now my shit missing. Trying to entertain her 6-member crew, she placed her index finger on Siona's warm nose. She wanted her to do something, anything, so that she would have an excuse to push her on the ground and kick her in every available place on her body. But Siona knew the routine and stood as still as a Macy's store mannequin. The warm tears felt rolling down her face and into the corners of her mouth were the only indicators that Cutie meanness was getting to her. That only indicated that Cutie meanness was getting to her. What you gonna say, huh? What you gonna do? Siona Teller wanted to run, but knew they all chased her, pushed her to the ground, and beat her in places she couldn't imagine. In her opinion, it was better to stay where she was and get beat down by Cutie alone than to be jumped by many. Makes sense. Siona's dark walnut-colored skin was loaded with tear streaks. Punch that bitch, Cutie. You know she stole your iPod, one of her screaming friends said, beginning to see a fight. Begging to see a fight. Sorry, y'all. I'm getting used to this reading out loud. Trying to get things started quicker than fire to gasoline. She stepped behind Siona and pushed her closer to Cutie, instigating. Oh shit, she stepped to you now. Cutie crew crowded around them so tight they couldn't move if they wanted to, and the spectators on the far outside stepped close to catch a view. Why you steal my fucking iPad, Blackie? Cutie taunted. You shouldn't even have been in my room. Siona had no idea what she was talking about. She stayed as far away from Cutie as possible when they were home. But she knew her answer wouldn't matter. She could still taste the vinegar from the pickle she was eating in front of her steps before Cutie approached her. As she thought of what to say, "I didn't do it," she whispered. "Please don't hit me." With tightened lips, Cutie drew back her fist and slammed it into her nose and mouth. Ooh. Blood splattered on her coat, to her friends, and all over the gray concrete beneath them. Siona fell to the ground, curled up in a ball, and covered her head. Fashionable shoes kicked and stepped on her, leaving her brown coat covered with dusty footprints. "Cutie, get up!" Mooney yelled from the window. "Now!" Here, Mooney's voice caused everybody to shudder. Very few people heard her speak. As far as most knew, she was on the run from something or somebody and found refuge in the projects. In her 5 years there, she seen everything from a man getting shot because he didn't want to turn over the keys to his car, to homeless Henry dying from hypothermia in his abandoned truck due to last year's winter storm. She wouldn't speak to the cops no matter how much they asked, believing silence was the best policy. With everyone staring at Mooney, the crowd around Siona opened up, and she dodged into the building for shelter. Cutie looked up at the window, put her hands on her hip, and said, "What you want with me? My mother said I could come outside." "I didn't ask you that. Come up here now. I want to talk to you." Cutie passed her friends with their quizzical stares. She wondered what the strange woman wanted and why she would embarrass her in front of her crew. When she knocked on the door, Mooney opened it, and Cutie trudged in and plopped on the sofa. It was the same place she sat whenever her foster mother asked Mooney to watch her for a few hours. During those times, she couldn't wait until she was 13 so she could be allowed to watch herself. Even back then, she believed she had an understanding with Mooney. "You don't say shit to me, and I won't say shit to you. So what has changed?" "What you want with me?" Cutie said, her arms folded angry over her chest. "My mama said I can watch myself now. I don't have to be sitting up here looking at you wash little kids." From her brown leather recliner by the window, Mooney examined the little girl. She could see herself in her, and that wasn't a good look. Mooney's light skin was covered in an array of brown freckles in different sizes and shapes. Although she was a little over 40, these days she resembled a 60-year-old woman. Placing a cigarette in her mouth, she held the lighter to its tip and flicked it until it glowed with a speck of orange. She could feel Cutie growing agitated, and it was what she wanted. "Can you tell me what you want with me?" she said, pushing her medium-length hair out of her face. "I want to go back outside to play with my friends. Dang." Mooney, on her own time, took 2 puffs off her cigarette and said, "Hang your coat up." She nodded towards the rack at the door over there. Cutie turned her head to look at the rack before she faced Mooney and said, "No, I want to keep it on. I'm not going to be here long anyway." Mooney could see right through her. The tough girl exterior she presented was fake and a facade. "I just want to go outside." "You're not wearing a shirt under your coat, are you?" Mooney asked, removing the cigarette from her lips, placing it in the glass ashtray. "You're outside being loud and crazy to get attention, all for a bunch of boys who don't give a F about you. You look ridiculous." She laughed. "I bet you don't even know who you are, do you?" With her lips poked out, she said, "I'm Cutie Tootie from Southeast. I know who I am." With multiple neck rolls, she continued, "All the boys like me because I'm light-skinned and I can fight." "I didn't ask you what you look like. I asked you, do you know who you are?" She frowned. "You can't even tell me without talking about your outside appearance, which can be taken from you in an instant." She snapped her fingers. Trust me, I know if it doesn't fade first." Cutie was embarrassed and tried to buck at the woman to ruffle her feathers the way she done hers. Fuck do you want with me? You ain't nothing but a washed up ass bitch. She giggled, and everybody around her knew it too. She paused. Anyway, I already done told you. My mama said I can watch myself now. She got up to walk away. Sit the fuck down, Mooney said. Now, Cutie took a seat. Why did you hit that little girl? Cutie blew out a puff of air, fell back into her seat, and took her iPads out of her pocket with the white headphone attached before stuffing them in her ears. She still had the blood of Siona on the front of her second-hand pink baby fat coat. Growing irritated, Mooney stood up, pulled away from her. I asked you a question. Why would you strike your foster sister? I did it because she stole my shit. She lied. You mean this iPad pod? She asked in a monotone voice, completely void of emotion. Mooney threw the device in the box on the floor next to her. You hit her in the face for something she didn't do. I know Melinda has her with her, but where did you learn to be so cruel? The troubled teenage caught her in a lie, felt her stomach juice squirreling around. Leave me the F alone, she said, pulling her phone out of her pocket. She was as done as a piece of burnt fried chicken. You ain't supposed to be taking my stuff. Her fingers moved quickly over her phone as she sent a group text to her friends. The text said, please tell me why this bitch just took my shit. I'm going to tell my mother when she get home from work, and she's going to fuck her up too. Dee Dee responded, well, hurry up back outside. We talking about jumping that bitch tomorrow at school. Kids. Mooney looked at the tight jeans Cutie had on, the small traces of blush on her face, and the cleavage spilling from her coat, and felt sorry for her. Tootie Ranger, a.k.a. Cutie Tootie, had stayed in Melinda Sheldon foster home longer than any other child. Usually the government never allowed children to stay with her long because of past complaints. Most stayed no more than 6 months to a year, mainly because she would spend the money for their care and kick them out when they complained. It was obvious that although Melinda was unfit, she had a soft spot for Cutie. The damage being placed on her young mind bothered Mooney, and for the first time, she was going to tell someone the story that had been burdening her for years. Mashing the cigarette out in a damp ashtray, it sizzled. Rubbing her left elbow, she said, you remind me of somebody. Cutie looked at her and then focused back on her phone. Small ding rained out every time she received a text. Let me guess, you're going to tell me I was like you when you were a kid, right? She said in a sassy voice. You can never be me, Mooney said. You remind me of somebody who was so focused on outside shit, they became something else. You just fit in. Cutie rolled her eyes and continued to stab at her keypad. I don't want to hear about it, because whoever you're talking about wish they could be as cute as me. Well, you're going to hear it anyway, otherwise I'm going to tell the cops you hit that girl, and they'll take you away. I know how much you love your foster mother. Her eyes widened. You can't do that. I can do that and more. Mooney rubbed her left elbow again. When you were outside before you hit that child, you called her an ugly black bitch. Why? Because she's an ugly black bitch and not cute and not light-skinned like me. That's why. What makes you think she's ugly? Because she doesn't have the same complexion as you. How are we that different? Cutie sighed, looked at the ceiling, and said, everybody knows Redbones are cuter than dark-skinned girls. That's just life, she shrugged. Most of the boys in my school are on team light skin. That's what they call it anyway. Cutie sounded so ignorant, but she didn't know. Her young mind was infatuated with the opinion of stupid adults, and she didn't have an opinion of her own. When she tried to read Mooney, she said, I don't know why you mad at me. You light-skinned it too. Mooney sat down. The story I'm going to tell you is about a girl just like you. There ain't no Halloween story. This ain't no Halloween story, is it? She stabbed at her keypad again. Because I ain't got time for that, for all that. Because nothing about me is going to change. Cutie was suddenly in tune with text. But Mooney didn't worry because she knew she heard the crazy story story never told that she had ever had her complete attention. Okay, I'm gonna start right there. That was just the present day. I'm gonna start back with chapter 1, and it states many years earlier, Mama got it wrong about what happened behind the school. Farrah. So this is Redbone, and we'll pick back up with chapter 1 soon. We ain't finished, y'all. Just gave y'all a glimpse of it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll be back with Redbone. This is part of my content as well as Zodiacs by my reactors.